Hi, this is a video on how to send a DP file to another studio for mixing, or maybe you want to take your files into another DAW. So let's look at, if you have a DP project you're going to send to me, how are we going to do this? We're looking at this file here, and we can see there's a couple of MIDI tracks here, one with Mark 5 and FabFilter Twin. Now, when we're doing Mark 5, I do have Mark 5. I might not have FabFilter. Or if you're using some specific thing that I probably don't have, in that case, we have to freeze these tracks first, which means turn them into audio. And let's look at how we're doing this. I'll be dragging in here. Now we see we have the markers window. I'll just change this markers to, let's go down here to the track selector. Okay, and let's go to the sequence editor. Now we know pretty much where you see the order of the tracks here is the order we saw them in before. We know that the MIDI tracks was on the right side at the very end, which is at the bottom here. So we'll just go click on the first, and while I'm holding down the mouse button, just drag down over them all until the only thing that I've selected right now is the MIDI track and the VI. I can go into the window. I just click somewhere and hit select all. Another way I can select this would be, let's just unselect, because we don't really, there's no audio out here, or there's no MIDI information out here, so there's no audio to be made. So I can go up here and you see how my cursor changes. If I go too far up, it becomes a vibro position tool, but if I drag it down a little bit, then it is an I-beam tool, and I can just click drag to the very beginning for a full selection of the MIDI and the VI track. I've done this. I'll go to the audio menu and we will select freeze tracks. And we will now see DP is starting to render these tracks as audio tracks. Great, so this is done. Bring in all the tracks again. So there we have them all. Okay, now I'll just go back to the mixing board. I go back to the mixing board. That's, to me, the easiest thing. And we will remove the VIs that we use. So just click on them and hit delete. Now the VIs are out of the project. I can leave the channels in here. That's okay. I can always move them later if I want to. Now I'll go back to the track selector window here. Change this to sound bites. Go to the mini menu over here, select the unused sound bites, and again mini menu here, and remove from list. Once that's done, we'll go and save a copy as, and let's go find a place to save this file it into Studio. We will save it as a Digital Performer project document, and we have duplicate audio and copy shared samples to project checked. So we'll go ahead now and hit save. Now DP is making a whole new folder with this project, and because we removed the sound bites that was unused, it's only copying the sound data that is being used in this project, and so making the folder as small as possible. Okay, copy is done. We can go find the folder, Studio, and there's the folder that we just made. I will select it, I will right click on it and compress it to a zip file. And that zip file is the one you can V-transfer, Dropbox, or whatever the means you want to use for sending these files to me, or if you're going to send it to some other studio. Okay, now let's look at if I wanted to take this project to a different DAW. There's of course different ways of doing that. We could try save as OMF files and all that good kind of stuff. However, my personal preference, when I take files over to another DAW or to even a different studio, if I have to do further overdubs in a different studio for the tracking session, of course we can always mix down to stems and just bring a few stems, but sometimes I really like to have all my individual tracks there available to me and make a great monitor mix for the talent. What I'm doing there, we'll go to the sequence editor. Let's look at the track selector and make sure we have selected all the tracks so they're all visible here in the sequence editor. And what I'll simply do is I'll just click in here and hit select all and make sure that I have a fixed starting point. In this case, my fixed starting point will be bar 1, measure 1, so 1100, and it goes to 130.1000. That's a great selection. So once that's done, I'll simply go to the audio menu and select merge sound bites. It'll take a few moments to make these new sound files and analyze them and draw the waveform and show them to me here in the editor. And while that's happening, I can make a note of the BPM of the project and my interface settings, which in this case is 44.1 24-bit. So I can just, when I get to another DAW, I can just set up a new project with 82 BPM and make sure the interface, if it's a different interface I'm working with, it does have the same parameters set. So once this has happened, I can go to the projects folder, and then we can go into the audio files folder, and there we will see with the timestamp around the time where you're at right now. You can see it says today, and sort this as date modified, and you'll see a bunch of new files for all the individual tracks here are being made. These are the tracks that I simply will copy to a drive and bring with me, and these are just ready to bring into another DAW in a new session, and we're ready to roll. So we just have to wait for all this to finish writing to the disk before we can drag them out, and we will see all the files will have the same size. You see the 50 megabyte, those are mono files, and the 99.9 megabyte files are stereo files.